Hi, I'm back to talk to you about Dale Carnegie again. Last video we did was about the first section of the book uh, that I presented last time, and it's Dale Carnegie, How to Develop Self-Confidence and Influence People by Public Speaking. I'm really enjoying the book because in addition to giving you ideas of how to become a more comfortable public speaker, he also puts in stories about other people who had trouble being public speakers and um, how they overcame it, what their process was. I'm a little uncomfortable speaking right now because I'm in my car and I actually have somebody standing in front of me, wondering what I'm doing, sitting in the car talking. So anyway, so that's my little awkward moment. But um, one of my favorite parts of the book is where he talks about Abraham Lincoln, and he talks about how he would get on a subject, and before he would go out and speak to the public, he would mull the thing over in his head. He would continuously tweak it and make changes, and right pretty much up until the point where he was making the speech, he would be going over it in his head and saying, what else can I do to fine tune this? How else can I present this information? And I found that really interesting because he really knew his subject matter. And I believe that if you're going to make a speech of some sort or a presentation, it's really good to educate yourself on what you're going to be talking about. Don't just have note cards and go out and present that way, because if you get off track and your mind starts to get a little jumbled up, because that can happen, especially if you're nervous. If you don't really know your subject matter or your product or whatever it is you're presenting, you can become very uncomfortable. On the other hand, if you really understand what you're presenting and you really know the product or the subject matter, whatever it is, you can rely on that. You may get off course with what you had planned on saying, but you can go back to your own knowledge of what it is you're talking about. So I think that's a great idea, and that really does fit network marketing, because you may have a variety of products that you're presenting or a company that you're presenting, and if the more you know about it and the more your own personal experience has been with the product or the company, the better you're going to come across, because you're not going to be uncomfortable talking about it. So, and that's what the next section of Mr. Carnegie's book is all about. What are you going to talk about? And that's one of the things that I think holds a lot of people back from getting in front of the camera. They just don't feel comfortable about what are they going to talk about. And my suggestion is become inspired. I'm talking about this book because it came into my life at a good time. I was really looking for my next personal growth sort of book, and I happened to buy it in it was on sale in a bookstore one day, and I said, okay, cool, I'll take this home and let's get through it. And it's really an enjoyable book, and I'm learning from it, and I like to pass that information on to you. And that's where you're going to get your information and your inspiration. If you go to a conference or you sit in on a webinar or you're reading some really good books, you don't have to take that information and come back and spurt it out exactly as you heard it, but make it your own. Take the information that you're hearing and what you're learning and just pass it on to everybody else and say, look what I'm learning. Here it is for you. And do it in your own way, in your own style, and just be comfortable with it. And what's nice about that is the more you do that, the more you really will be learning that material, because you'll be repeating it to yourself too. So be comfortable with that, and be comfortable being yourself. We're not actors. We're normal human beings out here trying to get people to recognize us and know us and be comfortable with us, because people are going to join organizations and groups with other people that they feel comfortable with. So if you're yourself behind the camera, in front of the camera, whatever, and people like you, they're going to be attracted. They're going to start following you, and that's how you make that connection, just like you would in real life. So sometimes you come across differently when you speak than you do on paper. So your blog may do one thing for you, and certainly get information out. But people will read your blog and then say, I wonder about that person. Gee, I wish I could meet them. And we're very lucky to have YouTube and the internet and the ability to really feel like we know each other before we ever meet. So do that. Don't feel uncomfortable. Just be yourself and be prepared. Know what you're going to talk about, and you should be just fine. So with that, gonna shut down now because people really are looking at me like I'm a little strange sitting in the car with the video camera. So it's a little uncomfortable. But I'll talk to you next time. Maybe I'll actually be in a room instead of a car. Who knows? Have a great